And we are back.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Ericka, this is what happens when I give you control of content.
Oh, it's so good. Well, here,
So-
I got to show you, Robert, if you didn't notice, I've switched into a cardigan.
Well, no, I noticed you put on a cardigan.
Yeah, so I took off my suit jacket that I had on earlier, and
Thank
I'm
God.
pulling a little like Mr. Rogers action, putting on my
As
cardigan.
long as it's not, as long as you're not pulling a little Mr. Ed action, I think you're okay.
No, this is the sweater of an anime character called Bakugo, and he shoots fire out of his hands. I just felt like it was appropriate for today. I just felt like a flame throwing character.
I am
Would be
speechless and
appropriate.
without words. So let's roll to the next section. I am not even going there because anything I say would get us banned on every channel based on that response.
Well, and here's the thing, you guys. Luckily, we've got an awesome panel coming up of super smart people who are going to argue fantastically. Bruce, why is your camera off? Oh, that's right. He's not going to have a camera.
We're supposed to have it. We're supposed to have a headshot.
We're gonna get the camera up there.
Ladies
Let's
and
bring
gentlemen,
them all in.
We have Jay Shepard, former longtime RNC committee man from Vermont and political insider. We have the chess master, the grand chess master, Jeff Berkowitz, who is still a DC insider and head of Dell, which is a research firm. We have Dr. Lori Fineman, who is the Dr. Phil in our world.
Yes.
Well,
she fixed me. She was like, I figured you out in 5 minutes. She gave me some advice.
Wait, you were fixed?
Yeah. She's like wicked smart, y'all.
Cardigan on. You were not fixed.
Nah, dude.
Sorry,
you're like
and we have Dr. Bruce Abramson with us, I believe, at least in voice only. Bruce, are you with us?
I am with you. I will apologize for that.
The voice of God.
I am
the OG. He's the voice of God.
I will say I'm saying a safe distance from Ericka and her fire hands. I'm down in Florida, and I'm actually between spending a little time with the Patriot Revival Social Club and the Sarasota Republican Party.
Oh, all right.
And, hopefully there's some alcohol in between. So
there is, and you should have a still photo of me in a suit, looking very professional. Whereas in fact, at the moment, I am decked out entirely in Americana.
Well, if we can find that and put it up, but I want to start with the chess master, Mr. Berkowitz, Jeff Berkowitz. So we're after 7 o'clock. I'm told that early results are going to be indicative. What are you seeing out there? How's Brown doing against Moreno in Ohio? What's going on in New Hampshire? Is Casey going to win or lose in Pennsylvania? Because you start seeing the early signs. You kind of go, okay, how's it going? And are we going to have hanging chads in Pennsylvania?
Well, if early indications were real in any election, then we would all be talking to former Kerry administration officials.
Touche.
So I would be very cautious about early indicators. A lot of that has more to do with who is more prone to showing up early, to vote early in the day versus later in the day, which tends to be people that don't have anything better to do. And as well as which precincts are better and faster at counting votes, and what states they can start pre-counting, pre-processing early votes and mail-in votes. So it's much more on the technical side than any real indications of what's happening.
Yeah, that's a long-winded answer for where are we at 7 o'clock?
We don't know.
Anyone who tells you they know is lying.
Come on, you've already called Vermont.
But look, if I
have called Vermont,
if you look at the data that we have, we know turnout numbers, and Republicans seem to be turning out in greater numbers than Democrats. The Republican, the Trump campaign and the super PAC supporting them did what they said they were going to do. They turned out early voters. Hilarious after 2 cycles of the media and the Democrats attacking Trump for attacking early voting. When they got it together and did it, the media and the Democrats turned around and were like, oh, well, they're just cannibalizing their election day vote. But in a lot of places, the Democrats did not meet the 2016, 2020 numbers in early votes. And that would be really concerning to me if I was a Democrat. It's going to be a very close election, as I'm sure you've been hearing ad nauseum this whole cycle. And that should be a drinking game. We'd all be drunk very quickly. But It's hard to say, but I was talking to folks in Ohio earlier, and they feel like the wind is at Moreno's back. You can tell what the Bob Casey internals are telling him about the race, because he's running closing ads about how much he agrees with Donald Trump and how he worked with him in office. I think we're definitely seeing a lot of momentum, maybe a little blunted right towards the end, the last couple of days for Trump. We'll see once people start actually getting real and meaningful results and data back in. We'll see. Right now we just have the exit polls, which tell us that it's a very close race. The top issues are concern about democracy, concern about the economy. Majority of people think they are not better off than they were 4 years ago. That's not a good thing for Kamala Harris. Although she claims she was absent for the last 4 years, it had nothing to do with it. So we have these weak signals that give us a guess, but we don't know how the independents swung, either the early vote or late deciders. We don't know how many Republicans shifted, how they were going to vote. Going into election day, I would much rather be Donald Trump than Kamala Harris.
Got it. So I want to talk about, there are two voting blocks, and I want to address this to you, Laurie. There are two voting blocks that seem to be still the stalwarts of the Democratic Party. One is the women's vote, right? Because there's really four pillars in the Democratic Party. One is the women's vote. Second, you would say, is the minority or the black vote, or maybe people of color, right? The Hispanic vote as well. You've certainly got then the union vote, things like that. But I want to focus, because what I hear out of the Harris campaign is that there is this upswing in turnout of women voters. Is this all about abortion to them?
I mean, I can only speak to, I'm no Jay or Jeff. Or Bruce, right?
Well, I'm glad you're not Jay or Jeff or Bruce.
Well, I'm here for like the looks, okay, I guess, because I don't know what else I have
Thank God for small favors.
And I'm a much better co-host than guest. That being said, I can tell you what was happening down here in Florida for a very long time. The lack of knowledge that some people have in Florida was they were making it all about the abortion issue. And I just kept saying to them, but it's on the ballot, right? So you actually have a say right now to change that. And regardless of your views on abortion, I just want it off, right? Because then nobody can sit here and say that was the primary issue of what they were going into the voting booth for. So that was driving me insane. What I'm hearing more down here is the younger women. So my cohort and below were doing it, saying, well, abortion for my children, for my daughters and things like that. Again, it's on the ballot. So if you want to say, go and vote.
Meaning it's on the Florida ballot.
It's on the Florida ballot to change the constitutional amendment, right? So, and by the way, worded terribly. So after you cut that out, which a lot of people were still going into the voting booth, I could ask people, okay, so just look, I can be open-minded. Tell me why Kamala, tell me why you are voting for Kamala. And the only answer consistently, even from the brightest people that I spoke to, women, was I can't vote for Trump. That was it. There was never any other explanation. Every once in a while, it was, I'm afraid that he's going to never leave office. He's bringing in people that are going to, take over, never leave. He surrounds himself by terrible people. He has, he meets up with KKK members. The Charlottesville thing kept coming up. But aside from that, nobody could tell me one good thing that Kamala did in policy. And it was all just because they didn't want him and couldn't vote for him.
So they're voting against Trump. Yes. And Jay, as a former RNC committee man, longtime RNC committee man, newly retired, hope you're doing well in retirement. What's the schism in the Republican Party? Because the Harris campaign has been really big about marching out all these people who either worked for Trump or are Republicans for for Harris? I mean, where's the divide there, and how significant of a factor do you think that plays in this election?
I think it's pretty obvious that there are a lot of Republican leaders that want to see the whole Trump populist movement go away.
Yeah.
He's pushed a lot of Republicans, traditional Republicans, conservative Republicans to the sideline and has been very brutal in attacking them if they are not 100% loyal. So there's a lot of undercurrent going on within the party to say, we've had enough of Trump, that we at some point want to take back the party. So that's really important as well. I want to just comment quickly on what Lori said. I think Florida is going to be really important when we take a look at the breakdown of the vote there and see what the difference is between the Trump vote, the senatorial vote for Scott, and the abortion referendum. I think that'll give us some real indication as to how important the abortion issue is for Americans, as opposed to leadership and the economy and all of that, and whether or not we can separate the two and which one will be more important. So I think that's a real important part of it. But to get back to your question, Robert, this is going to be a real test of the ground game. And a lot of the ground game within the Republican Party is from the establishment. And when we take a look at what's going on in Georgia and the Kemp organization, are they going to really commit to the ground game? Because Trump didn't really have much of a ground game. He's outsourced it in a lot of areas. So we need to take a look at some of these states and how much the establishment Republicans have gotten involved to support Trump going forward.
But Jay, I've got to push back on you're saying a lot, and I don't know what a lot means in Vermont, but down here in DC, that means billions. But the reality is Donald Trump is at the commanding height of Republican support that he's never reached before right now, going into the closing days of this election. If you look at Republican support for him, in the 2 months since Kamala Harris enlisted Liz Cheney to convince Republicans to cross over and vote for her, Donald Trump's support among Republicans has gone up.
I agree. I would agree with you.
So I hear you about the establishment, but those are vestiges, and it's really much more reflective of the realignment happening between the parties, where Republicans are becoming more diverse, more blue collar, less educated, less college educated voters than they used to be. And some of those, we used to, back in the days I first started getting involved in politics, call them the country club Republicans. Some of them are filtering out and deciding that feeling welcome at the cocktail parties is more important than the principles they said that they hold on to, even as some of those principles are shaking up.
Right. But I
don't think that there's a lot of Republicans out there that are actually.
We're talking two different things, though, Jeff. I think we're talking two different things.
I don't think we're going to see that in tonight's results.
But I think we're talking two entirely different things. The question, as I understood it from Robert, was the leadership within the Republican Party, not the rank and file. I agree with you that the momentum within the rank and file Republicans is all Trump. I mean, we're seeing it everywhere. People are coming out of the woodwork. There's never been enthusiasm for a Republican candidate the way there is for Trump. But what I was referring to is the leadership in some areas. I was talking about the leadership of Kemp in Georgia. We're talking about, the McConnells of the world, and even the Rick Scotts and John Thunes and some of these folks. I think they'd be much happier and much better off if Trump moved aside and gave more room to the traditional leadership of the party. And I think that's where I was going. I don't disagree with you at all regarding what the turnout's going to be and the enthusiasm for Trump. But I was answering a question in terms of the leadership.
Don't you think at this point, like a lot of those leaders have been filtered out among the state parties? I think the Trump campaign did a great job making sure that they got the right leaders in place in all the state primaries to try and make sure that they could run the gamut on the primaries. It seems like a lot of the folks in control of the apparatus, Ronna got thrown overboard because she wasn't bringing results. Do you think there's a lot? The Kemp organization is working hard for Trump down in Georgia. They made their peace. And they know they're a lot better off with him than.
I want to pull. I want to pull Dr. Bruce in on this, or Dr. America in on this. So Bruce, going off of what all three said, Lori and Jay.
Oh, wait,
and,
hold on, Bruce. You were muted for some reason.
and-
Hold on. Say that again.
Bruce
I said
is muted.
I was able to get my camera working. So
I
thank you for
love that,
sharing with me.
Hallelujah.
But a lot of what you've written about has been sort of the elites in the party establishment, right?
Yes.
And the elites in America. So the question really is, because I'm going off of Jay, what you said, because even post Donald Trump, the Republican Party is now a populist party, in my opinion. It remains to be seen what happens post Trump, but I can't imagine they're all just going to, dry up, go away, or maybe revert back to the Democrats. So Bruce, hasn't Trump transformed the party, regardless of outcome on this election, that it's now sort of as Jay points out, a populist party? And isn't it really sort of grassroots against sort of the DC elites?
No, I mean, look, Trump has been instrumental in it, but it's not Trump to transform the parties. Okay, both parties have transformed. The parties today have nothing to do with what they were in the 1990s. And look, I'm evidence of this. Okay, I've now been a registered Republican for, I guess, 14 years, which feels like a long time. But the truth is, I was an active Democrat for about 25 years. And in 2005, I registered as an independent because I thought that neither of the parties were supportable. I am much more comfortable in Donald Trump's Republican Party than I would have been in George W. Bush's. I just, I did not like that party. When I looked beyond Bush and I saw guys like Trent Lott reading the Senate, I mean, this was not a party I felt was supportable. It reached a point where I thought that the Democrats were even worse. What happened for me, I will tell you, from 1980 to 2005, I thought the Republicans were a coherent party. There were factions I liked, factions I didn't like. I didn't like where they cohered. But the Democrats were a mess. There were a bunch of squabbling factions. You never knew who was going to be ahead. So I figured all the action is you join the melee and you try to get one of the factions you like in charge for a few years, which is largely what happened in the 90s. By 2005, the Democrats had cohered behind their very worst factions. 2010, the Tea Party, which, by the way, I still don't understand what it was, but it was effective. The Tea Party broke open the Republicans. So in 2010, I said, okay, now the Democrats are a coherent party pointing in a terrible direction, and the Republicans are a bunch of squabbling factions. I'm going to go join the Republican so that I can help my factions do well. And I've been very happy with the direction the party has taken since then.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I'm Ron Paul was like my gateway politician. When you start hearing, for me, I think a lot of people unknowingly are libertarian, right? They just want to be left alone. They don't want to spend a bunch of wars. They kind of want there to be a social safety net, but I don't want to be responsible. And so I think people are kind of like a default libertarian, right? And so I went from being kind of like a lefty Democrat because I thought that they were the only ones who cared about the environment.
Right. Am I the only one here who wasn't a lefty Democrat ever in my lifetime?
I have a 1984 Connecticut is Bush Country Take a Hike Mike T-shirt.
Better. I don't feel so.
I was in third grade.
Barry Goldwater.
I take no personal responsibility. It's how I was raised. Okay, it's not my fault.
I had a room full of handmade McGovern posters in crayon.
And Lori, what say you?
I'm just enjoying listening to all of this. And I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time concentrating looking at Bruce's outfit.
Yes. I love it.
I'll tell you, you want to talk about drift. When I first started wearing American flag paraphernalia, it was considered hippie wear. Abby Hoffman got arrested for wearing an American flag.
Excuse me, these people don't know. Jay knows who Abby Hoffman is.
I have no idea who that is.
Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin were the founders of the Yippies. That was the Youth International Party.
I can picture Bruce being in Chicago this year at the convention wearing the same outfit.
but I'll tell you, Abby Hoffman wore an American flag shirt on the Phil Donahue show. Phil Donahue was Oprah before there was Oprah. And he was arrested for desecrating the flag. Okay,
Oh,
and
wow.
at about the same time, the Uncle Sam top hat became a signature of Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead. So when I got into American flag paraphernalia, it was considered part of the left, and it
That
kind
is
of drifted.
funny.
It kind of drifted
It's
over with
drifted.
me.
Right. So,
Hold on. I gotta
Bruce,
wait.
do you get
I
more?
gotta
Do you
read.
get more drinks with that now? Like people buy you drinks with that now?
It
In
depends where I
Florida.
am, right?
In
In
Sarasota.
Florida.
No, Florida. I mean, Florida. I'll tell you, Sarasota is exactly where you want to be. It is a Republican-leaning jurisdiction with two actual political parties.
That's cool.
Which is actually a good place to
Useful.
be.
So one of our listeners, viewers said, I was a Democrat when I was a young kid. By 9, I cured myself. Josh, more power to you, man.
But
Where
how
were
does
you?
one cure himself at 9?
I don't know, but that is
least
a
he was
patriot right
cured.
there.
Wait.
That's all that matters.
You're the doctor of psychology. How does one cure oneself at 9?
Look, he obviously didn't need me, and kudos to him for doing it on his own.
So
No,
okay, so
but,
this
but,
is
look, I think the most important point is that the parties have completely realigned. And you would expect there to be people who were in the leadership of either party who were very unhappy with the direction their party took. And that's true. That's true at all levels. I think the key thing to look at is that you've got 30 states where new Republican registration has supplanted
Skyrocketed.
Democrats. And for the first time, really in memory, there are more registered Republicans than registered Democrats. Now, you never know how anybody is going to vote. But I will tell you that nobody who changed their party registration in the past 2 years is crossing party lines. Okay? There is nobody out there who said, I've always been a Democrat, now I'm going to be a Republican, but I'm going to vote for Harris anyway.
So that's it. You bring up
you're
the
going to hear
realignment.
something different later, Bruce.
Exactly. So Jeff Berkowitz, chess master, isn't one of the things that we're possibly seeing? I mean, look, the results aren't all in yet. Let's see what happens here. But isn't one of the things that we're possibly seeing is really that realignment of the parties long term? I remember in 2004, after other than Colorado, Bush pretty much ran the table, and I remember Carl Rove talking about a long term realignment in party structure, which didn't end up happening. And when George Bush, when 43 decided to take it out for a test spin, it didn't do so well in 2006, as I recall. He had 2 years and that was it. But isn't it possible with the move within the Black community towards sort of the Trump populist policies within the Hispanic community, and we're presupposing what happens tonight, to the Trump populist policies, that you're seeing a longer term realignment as opposed to just something that begins and ends with Trump?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This realignment's been going on for the past almost decade. And you're starting to see more of it come through. Hispanics, by and large, typically, if you rewind to when when we were running President Bush for re-election, if somebody was an evangelical Hispanic, we had a better than 50% chance of being able to vote for Trump. If they were a Catholic, we probably had a 25 or 30% chance, because most the Hispanics that were Catholic tended to be less religious than the ones that had become evangelicals. And most of what we did with outreach to them and African American communities was through that lens of faith and family. Today, it's much more economic, and it's much more about the rule of law and public safety, and that resonates with a lot more audiences that are recognizing that the Democrats that have said they're the party to protect them aren't really actually protecting them for much. And I think we're in this age of gaslighting, where the government and many in the media tell us that the sky is blue when it's clearly cloudy and raining out.
Correct.
And you can only do that. And I have never been successful in betting against the intelligence of the American people in an election. They
want to think we're all a bunch of dimwits.
Well, we are.
Yeah, right here.
I mean, we voted for Barack Obama.
Neanderthals.
You vote for Obama and you say, great, it's time we had a Black man as
Hope
president.
and change.
But you voted for him again after you saw that he was not the most capable Black man that should be president. And I think the greatest thing we have going for us now is we've got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris guiding this country. And I think people are saying we're a freaking mess. And I think that drives a lot of people over to our side that would normally say, Trump's dangerous. Trump isn't who we really want. He's not even a traditional Republican. But look at the alternative here. This country is an absolute mess, whether it's economy, whether it's borders, whether it's foreign policy. We need a change. We need it now.
Well, I will tell you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Robert.
I was just going to say, because I wanted to talk to Jay real quick, because I know during your RNC days that you headed up for at least part of your time there, the Catholic outreach for the RNC. Where is the Christian community with regards to Trump? And again, I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush, because the Catholic community is one thing, the evangelical community. I mean, there's as somebody who is not of that persuasion, right? I mean, far be it for me to really understand the distinctions, because I get lost with all the different sects of Judaism, let alone Christianity, right? But how is that playing out this year? Because I know in 2016, let's just say the evangelicals or the devout, sort of the observant Christian community had doubts about Trump. Where is all that playing out now?
From what I'm hearing and from people I'm speaking to all over the country, the doubts are back. That the doubts weren't as much in 2020 as they are now. So he's moved away on a couple of issues that are very important to the conservative religious community, the faith community. The life issue. He is no better and no worse right now in a lot of people's eyes than Harris is. And we've seen what his wife came out with her book, and really a big slap in the face to the pro-life community. That does not help. In my opinion, if he would have stayed the course, we would be winning this overwhelmingly and walking away with a victory, and everybody would be happy. You've looked at what in the evangelical circles and in the Catholic circles, the same-sex marriage issue, where he was kind of neutral on that back in 2016, where he's not neutral anymore. He's come out very much in support of that. So in the faith community, those are two areas which there's a lot of issues. And in the Catholic community, there's also issues regarding the border crisis and what he's calling people from Haiti and what he's calling people from some of the subcontinent, the Latin America that are coming to this country. So the peace and justice, the faith community within the Catholic group has lots of questions about Donald Trump and whether or not he's better or worse than Harris is on the faith issues. Fortunately, he's much better on the economic issues.
Jay, I struggled with this when I ran for Congress, right? You're trying to straddle a lot of topics to not alienate the independents. And so do you think that he is just trying to make it a non-issue? Like, is that?
I'm sure that's what he's trying to make it. But what it does is it makes people not trust you. Because you've changed where you are and who I thought you were. You are no longer that person.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think in any relationship, in our relationship with our elected leaders is not much different than your relationship with a spouse or a family member or a friend, that you need to know where they are and that you trust them. And when they change dramatically or you perceive them to change dramatically, then you have issues with them and your enthusiasm isn't there as it once was.
Yeah,
but,
Lori,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to hear what Lori has to say about this.
Sorry, Jeff. But with that being said, Jay, they're not switching over to vote for Kamala because she's consistently inconsistent. So if we're going to talk trust, so they're still going to not vote at all, or are they going to? Right.
Well, I think most of us trust Harris. We trust that she's an idiot.
Oh,
I think we know where she is.
I was like, where are you going with that?
There's no question about where she is. So there's you trust that she's going to do something poorly.
But isn't that why people don't trust her? Is because she's flip-flopped on all the issues?
But not on abortion.
I think
she hasn't flip-flopped on abortion. But here's the challenge, Jay. The pro-life movement totally screwed up the aftermath of Roe v. Wade. And they went from this being an 80% agreement country on being pro-life with reasonable exceptions to being an 80% the other way because they so botched the messaging in the aftermath. And I remember sitting with some of the leaders in that movement before the decision and saying, guys, just don't screw this up. Some reasonable exceptions, and everybody goes along. The media and the Democrats are going to go into overtime trying to miscast you on this, and they played right into it. They went for national abortion ban.
They can't be reasonable.
Levels. They let the entire issue get defined in a way that made it untenable for Donald Trump to stand with them. As Lori was pointing out, women are overwhelmingly going to the polls and telling pollsters, telling the media, I'm voting because I'm concerned about my rights, my children's rights. Even some men are, college educated men are making a very uneducated statement that that's what they're voting for. The pro-life movement lost all of the ability to control the messaging on it that they'd had control of for 3 decades.
And I'm going to say,
Donald Trump, if he had gone in with that, he would probably be losing several states that he needs to win.
But the question that Robert asked is, where's the faith community on this?
Yeah.
And one of the things that the faith community is not enthusiastic about him. And fortunately, a lot of the faith community are in states that are deep red anyways. So his vote totals will be less, but they won't be enough to put Harris over. The other thing that he did, that Trump consistently did on the life issue, is he said people for 50 years have been saying, we want it sent back to the states. The pro-life people want it sent back to the states. Pro-life people didn't want it sent back to the states. They wanted fewer abortions. So even his messaging on that is totally out of line with the faith community and what they believe in the Christian world.
But to be clear, for 30 years, the messaging was that abortion should have been left to the states and not decided by the Supreme Court.
Not from the life people.
That was for 30 years. That was the message. That was the messaging.
That was the political messaging. But the rank and file pro-life people want fewer abortions. They don't care about the political ramifications and how states relate to it. It's all about fewer babies being killed. It's not about states' rights. It's not about the 10th Amendment. It's about saving lives of children.
I want to switch to Bruce. Yeah. Bruce, you're the data scientist here. I want to shift topics a little bit. Let's talk to me. The other concern is polling. I know you're a data scientist, right? I know that's one of your bona fides, right? For the last, month, seems the last year, every poll I have seen shows that it's 1%, 2%, margin of error 0.5. How is that even statistically? Two questions. Number one, how is that even statistically possible? Because we all know that it depends on your sampling set. Are you oversampling? Are you undersampling? What questions are you asking? Or is it likely voters? Is it the entire electorate? How is that possible? And number two, more of a broader question. Politics has now infused everything in the media. Hasn't politics also now infused the polling industry? Because they haven't gotten anything right other than Trafalgar, to my knowledge, in the last, 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah, look. So, beyond polling, just statistics in general. What statistics does, once you get an idea of what's going on, is it samples a population. Okay, it's as I'm not going to ask 330 million Americans what they think. I'm going to sample the population. So the first thing you have to say is that if the population that you're sampling is not representative of the broader population, then what you're getting is noise. Right? Yeah. So, what you're getting at best is, is the response of people who are willing to talk to pollsters. I don't think that they know what they're doing anymore, for the same reason that.
Or do they have an agenda?
Well, that too.
Because polling is also a business, right? I mean, there's the business of polling. And Lori, I want you to chime in from a psychology standpoint, both you and Bruce addressing this.
You know what? I'll tell you. Let me say, many years ago, I worked with a team at an oil company that was doing oil price forecasting, and I got to know that community. And I went to the professional conferences, and it was a conference with every major economic team from every major oil company in America. And I was talking to the forecasters, and you know what the saying among that community was? The best place for your forecast to land is halfway between Exxons and Shells. Okay, because because oil price forecasters or pollsters are like everybody else. If you're an outlier and you're the only one who's right, you're a superstar. But if you're an outlier who's wrong, you're dead in the water. If you're sitting with everybody else.
But everyone else is wrong. The outliers.
It doesn't matter. If you're wrong in the same way that it doesn't matter. If you're wrong the same way that everybody else is
so there's
wrong,
no consequences.
You're fine. That's right.
That is
you have a
so
fine
lame.
career.
So wait a minute.
So lame.
So
It's like the
Lori,
weather people.
Cowards, a bunch of cowards.
Is there now, because everyone's naked, right? I mean, everything's on social media, everything's on 24/7 news, everything's everywhere, and there's almost no privacy. Are people, from a psychological standpoint, do you think that people are reluctant now, even more than they always were, to talk to pollsters, to give them accurate information?
We saw it. Yeah, we saw it last time. People were lying when they walked out saying that they voted for Trump. And look, how many husbands or wives don't tell their significant other even that they're voting for Trump? I know many people who have hid that from their significant other. And now that the other one is turning toward Trump, they're finally coming clean on it. I could tell you many stories about that. But absolutely, look, I will not question Bruce, because he is definitely a million times smarter than I am. However, think about how polarized we are. The only people that are going to respond are going to be those extreme people who either want to get their opinion across, want to sabotage the pollsters' numbers, or just have really literally nothing to do. So seeing a fair representation in these polls, in my personal opinion, because the people who are going in there, they already know that anyone who's, I don't want to say in the 80% of the bell-shaped curve, they know that what's the results of this are meaningless, in my opinion. And I think that the same way our media is biased and the same way our educational system is now indoctrinating and biased, I think our polling is biased and for scientific. Because
so, Lori, I would add to that, if you talk to pollsters in this election, they're having a huge issue reaching Republicans. Republicans don't want to talk to them because they think exactly what you just said. They're biased and they already have an agenda. So they're having to weight things, and a lot of it's weighted by very online Democrats that are eager to talk to the pollster versus Republicans that are suspicious of them, and that's become a huge challenge in the public polling. But I will say, like, most of these pollsters are committed to the public polling, are absolutely committed to getting it right, but they do fall for what Bruce was talking about, which is you don't want to be out of it. You better be really sure about your data if you're going to be the outlier. Like I was texting with some political, folks that I'm close with in New Hampshire today about the Dartmouth poll that came out, and I asked, were they drunk when they were counting that one? Because it was quite the spread. To say that Kamala Harris is going to win the state by 30 points, which has not happened since 1988, by the way, that any candidate has won New Hampshire by that large a margin. That Craig was going to win by this outsized margin in the governor's race. And they just texted back to, I probably would have not released that. The other hopefully we can ostracize them, Bruce. You and I can join together.
Oh, we can. But the other thing you have to remember is the only look at the pollsters flock to the places that are split about down the middle, right? Yeah. Why do we have 1 million polls from Wisconsin and very few from Illinois? It's because nobody politically thinks that Illinois is interesting. But from a polling perspective, okay, whether everybody thinks that Harris is going to win Illinois. I don't disagree with that. But the question is she going to win at 54-46, 57-43, 62-38? Right? From a statistical perspective, those are radically different outcomes. Yeah. But nobody's out there doing that because nobody wants to put money into polling Illinois because nobody cares if she wins by 4 points or 10.
Well, we did a little bit of polling here in Austin. That's going to be our final segment. We, interestingly enough, Jeff or Matt, can I call you Berkey? Am I allowed to? Are we friends now?
It's Robert's prerogative. He wants to.
No, I
God.
wanna.
Berkey. Well, listen, Berkey is a term of endearment and affection. So, because Jeff and
Yes.
I go back a million years together when we were both much younger. So, as long as he doesn't object, it is a.
That was actually my Bush campaign nickname. So that's typically the folks that knew
Right.
me from that era.
Oh, I love it.
Well,
I
that
love
and
it.
by the way, Erica, that's because everyone associated with the Bush campaign for Texas had a Y at the end of their name.
Okay.
Berkey, Bobby, Ari, Joey, Billy. It was
Okay.
there
You
was
needed to
always
keep
a
it
Y.
consistent.
I didn't, but I got a worse nickname, Jeff. So don't feel so bad.
Wait,
We
Well-
have to know what that nickname is now.
Oh no, we're moving on. So
on, they
what
couldn't fit Lori
what we
into that
have to share was a little bit of exit polling ourselves. And Jeff, I gotta say, it mirrors what you just said, because really the only people who wanted to talk to us were Harris supporters. So and or people didn't want to talk at all. So anybody who wants to stay on for this last segment, I know we told you guys a half hour. So if you got to run.
Well, no. Before I let him go, I want
Yeah.
predictions.
Oh,
round
predictions.
robin. Mr. Shepard.
All right, and I want Lori, if you're available, I definitely want you to stay for this last part. Anybody who can stay, I want to stay. Lori, I definitely am
This
requesting.
can't be good.
I want exactly. I want predictions. What do you say, Mr. Shepard?
You know, I did the interactive map and all of that, and I came up with Harris 270, Trump 268.
Ooh.
As tight as it could possibly be. Maybe what's going to happen in Nebraska.
So Harris wins
Nebraska.
Pennsylvania. Then to get there, Harris needs to win Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay,
Got it. Chessmaster, what say you?
Jeff.
So that's interesting. I tend to think that Trump wins this. I'm not loving the early results that I'm seeing in North Carolina right now, but it's very early and most of the votes coming from Raleigh, so plenty of time left. I will say that some of the early races that Democrats were touting as being more competitive, like the Indiana governor's race, are thus far not showing out to be. So I do think it's going to be a pretty good night for Republicans. But we'll see.
So
I
Republicans, how
say-
about Republicans, Democrats, Senate, Jeff? What do you say?
Oh, I think we're going to be 51, 52, maybe even 53 or in the Senate.
For or
all right.
against Republicans?
Oh,
Republicans.
Republicans. There's
Okay.
the only, the worst that Republicans can do is 50-50 because we're picking up justice.
Well, I'm real worried
So then
about
it just
Ted
comes down to the
Cruz.
presidency, who that swing is. But I think we'll get, we'll test her. Moreno is doing quite well in Ohio so far.
And don't we pick up West Virginia? Don't Republicans pick up West Virginia? It's pretty much a given.
Yeah, I mean that was a given. Once
Yeah.
Manchin dropped out, there was no way that he was the last Democrat left, and he closed the door on the party headquarters on his way out the door.
I got it. So, Lori, what say you? I know you're in Florida, so and you too, Bruce, and you're
Yeah,
encased in
Florida
redness,
has
but-
already been
but
called.
Well-
what do you say nationally?
I have no scientific data that these guys all have. Right?
Which means
but
you have a
I'm
better
gonna-
feel.
Well, I'm just gonna say, listen, I'm just a tinfoil hat girl.
Yes.
So I'm gonna sit here and say that I don't believe it's gonna be very, very close, and I don't believe it's gonna be very, very fair. So I'll leave it that way.
Wow. Dr. America, aka
We gotta wait. We gotta play the scary music.
What's that?
Wait, hold on. We need the scary music.
Why do I get scary music?
It was Lori gets scary
It
music.
was my comment.
That was
Because of my
for this is
tinfoil
for
hat
Lori.
comment.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I have a better hat.
Clearly.
I think Republicans are going to have a good night. I think that Trump has a shot at the popular vote, although the fact that there's not much to vote for in California tends to dampen that. I think he wins all the swing states. I think we pick up at least 3 seats. I think the Republicans pick up at least 3 seats in the Senate. I
You think
it's
he
good
wins
night.
all the swing states?
Yeah.
So you think it's gonna be a clean
Wow.
sweep?
You mean
Yeah.
the Southern swing, that dance? So he's going to win all those states when he actually do the swing.
So, hey, Erica, pull up the map. Pull up the map we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
Pull up
The,
the Harris,
The swing
nightmare
states.
Republican. No, the map that shows nightmare Republican for Republicans.
Okay.
Do-
It's the
do we
third
get-
one.
Do we get the Robert and Erica prediction?
Of course you do. I'm going to show you the map first, though. No, not that.
I know. I told you I got to bring it up before I can change the page.
Oh,
Cut me
man.
some slack.
Yeah.
Hold on. 18.
Keep going. Keep going.
Hang on.
Yeah. Come on. There you go. Okay. So
Nightmare
here's the
scenario.
nightmare
Here we go.
scenario, right?
That's the one
So-
I have.
That's Jay's scenario.
Jay,
right?
Jay is the Republican nightmare scenario.
Exactly. So on this one, if you look at the map, guys and girls, she has to she runs the board.
Yeah.
Right. She wins Pennsylvania. Right. She wins Minnesota. She wins Wisconsin. She doesn't win. I shouldn't say that. She doesn't win Georgia. She doesn't win Arizona. She doesn't win North Carolina. Back it up one though, Erica.
Well, and I got something to say about this when we're all done.
So this is more of what I see is a map like this. And I think Trump does win Pennsylvania. So you're asking me, Jay, what I think? I think Donald Trump wins. It's what I said in the monologue. I just want someone to win by wide enough margin that we can get away from, whether or not this was a free and fair election. So it's got to be outside they call it the margin of error. I call it the margin of shenanigans.
It wasn't a free and fair election. Nobody in their right mind should think that we hold credible elections in this country, and it's independent. That's independent of who wins. Okay, what we do in this country, what we hold in this country are month-long scavenger hunts to see who can collect the most ballots.
Oh my God!
Getting citizens to vote for you is an acceptable way to generate ballots. It's not the only one.
Well,
okay?
and here's the worst part about that, Bruce, is that the census came out and said, "Oops, sorry, y'all, we made a mistake," and there are 9 electoral votes sitting in Democrat states that should be in Republican states. Yep. So if we don't have if we win, if it is Jay's nightmare scenario, the 68 to 70, everybody is going to lose their minds.
But
that's the question
none of our procedures work. Okay, nobody should trust this. This is not. I mean,
so you need a tinfoil hat too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just need a definition. But
they election change the definitions anyway, Bruce. So go back to your
an election is a measurement instrument. Somebody tell me what our processes measure.
It doesn't matter.
I can't do that because we're running out of time and I don't even have the answer because I'm not that smart. However, I think the real nightmare or the real prediction that needs to be made is what happens once we find out who wins. Because I believe that either way, we're screwed.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. Burn, baby, burn. The cities are going to burn. If Trump wins, the cities the blue cities are going to burn.
We bought extra ammo. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, you can never be too careful.
So, Erica, what's your prediction?
That no matter who wins, everyone's going to be stupid, and that's my prediction.
That's hardly a prediction, Erica.
You know what? You guys, I felt good about our chances until today, and you'll see why in the next segment. I was very disappointed that the only people who talked to us, even at the Republican polling places, were Democrats.
By the way, tell Lord Benjamin to join this show, will you please?
Yeah.
Because he feels good about all of this. There he is. All right, Lord Benjamin, what's your prediction?
How do we do this? There we go.
Look at that. I love that. Look at that. 7. This is the best.
Oh wait, hold on, baby. You are muted. You're unmuted.
No.
This is one of the merch items from our store. The virus of the Immaculate Conception. Lord Fauci, Saint Fauci.
Dislike that guy.
There you go.
I do not like him at all.
Get rid of politicians.
What was the question, Robert? I'm sorry.
It's what's your prediction?
What's your prediction?
I still feel good. I think that conservatives don't like to talk much about how they're going to vote. We keep that close. We've been trained to do that because, especially where I'm in the fields I work in, people, it's dangerous. Okay, it turns into a lot of contention. So people just shut their mouths and keep on moving. They put a flag on something and keep on moving. So I still think we're going to take this. I think that people are smart, even though I do not trust people, they're smart enough to know that stuff is garbage right now. So I cannot imagine Kamala Harris, I cannot speak words in a reasonable way. Is gonna win. I've seen too many black people who don't
I'm
like
unburdened by what has been, though, Benjamin. I've been unburdened
You've been unburdened
by what has been.
by what has been.
All right. So listen, as respect to our guests, I want to let them go since we only told them we'd keep them for a while, and I know they have popcorn and TV to watch. So Jay the Shepherd, thank you.
Yes.
Dr.
Oh,
Bruce,
wait,
thank you.
Wait,
Go ahead.
Robert, did you give yours?
I did.
Oh, that it's going to be good? Okay, go ahead. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Okay. Proceed.
Dr. Lori and Chessmaster, guys, thank you. We
I
will.
was told I
have
wasn't
a
allowed to leave.
Yo, Lori's
you're
not
staying.
allowed to leave, but thank you
Lori
for
has
being
to
on for the
stay.
segment.
And everyone else can stay. I'm not kicking you off, but it's just,
Yeah.
I know Bruce has a few parties to attend to with that
No,
hat.
Bruce
Oh, yeah,
wants
yeah.
to be here on the internet so people can see that fit. That's what's happening
Yeah.
right now.
Jeff
I'm
Jeff
pretty
needs to
Bruce
leave.
is party.
Somebody.
Jeff needs to leave so he
Wait,
can
wait,
maintain
Wait,
his
Jay-
reputation.
Jay, where's the black sheep tie, Jay? Come on, Jay. That's a hell of a tie, man. I'd like to see you wear that.
Yes. Yes.
The black
Oh,
sheep's
man.
on here.
I love it.
I see it.
Uh,
It's
I love
after
it.
hours. I don't like to, be working.
I was gonna say,
This is
Jay
enjoyment.
Shepard without a tie. The world is coming to an end.
first
Where are
time
the
I think
pigs
I've
flying?
seen
retired.
Where are the pigs flying?
Exactly.
All right, guys.
Anyways,
Okay. All right.
guys,
Who's
thanks
staying?
for being with
Everyone,
us
raise your
tonight.
hand. Who's staying?
and-
Who's going?
I gotta go.
All right.
See you, Bruce.
All right.
Appreciate
Bye,
it.
Thank you.
Bruce.
Guys.
Thank you all.
Bye, Bruce. Bye, Berkey. Yes. All right, Jay, you staying?
No, I'm headed out.
All right. Bye.
See you guys.
All right, Lori. Okay, so we went out. We went all over Austin, Central Austin. So we put together a map of some of the most conservative and some of the most liberal polling places. And interestingly enough, we got to talk to a Republican at the liberal spot, and we talked to mostly Democrats at the conservative spots.
And also, we got to talk to Patrick Bet David during this. So
Patrick
stay
David?
tuned for that.
Okay, so we're gonna, let me see. I gotta put this. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna remove the slides out of here. We're gonna get this set up.
I love how she just narrates her life and what she does.
Well, then you entertain them while I click
on.
buttons.
I don't know how to
You're clicking.
look at that.
So,
Look at that. Look at that. That's how entertaining
Hey,
a dance. Oh, snap. Look at that. Lori, you
so
doing
are we
it.
now officially after hours?
Impressed.
We are now officially. Oh, we can be after hours, but I don't think we need to be.
No, just run it.
Okay, so where did my
Nice
video-
sound effect.
There we go.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, isn't that fun? We've got
Got this one too, so if you want to make scary sounds.
or oh wait, no, this one. Do you guys remember that illegal immigrant? He was asked on like ABC or NBC, like, did you come here because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris opened up the border? And he said,
Basically.
so we clipped it as a soundbite for the soundboard. That's one of the things I think it's so interesting. There's some of these topics that people are one issue voters on, and the border is a good one. So hang on, guys. Let's see. Can I? Oh, it's being weird. No, it was being weird earlier too. It's saying that I don't have a plugin, honey.
Really?
Yeah, it's saying it tried to make me download some plugin. So let's try this again.
That did not sound good.
Exactly.
All right.
Love the green.
Yo, echo.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, was I supposed to play the whole intro?
It's
No.
only like 30 seconds. Look at you
Oh, my
talking
bad.
to people. You're on the streets.
Hey everybody,
Nice
we
to
are
meet you.
here in Georgetown, Texas, getting exit polling, and we picked this location because it's one of the more conservative polling places in the city of Austin. So we were sure we were going to find Trump supporters. If nowhere else, we were going to find them here. And today we've got Chris. Okay, you don't have to give your name, but if you want to tell everybody who you are, you're welcome to.
Hi, I'm Chris Alexander, a resident of Sun City.
Excellent. And so now it's probably obvious to all our viewers who you voted for, but would you share with folks why you voted for Donald Trump and what mattered most to you? Like, what were your primary issues?
I think the border is a big issue. I think that we need to secure our borders.
Yeah.
I also feel that we've got to bring affordability back to America.
Yes.
I've got a daughter with 4 children who's struggling. So that's
Yeah.
a big important thing. But I think we've just got a great opportunity to take America back. And I think, too, we've strayed too far away from our values as Christians. So I think that's important.
We're here. I thought it was really interesting because when we were talking to the Trump supporters, they were talking about how much they cared about their daughters and their children, but not about abortion. And then when we talked to the opposite side, it was like they cared about their daughters, and so that's why they cared about abortion. So Lori, one of the things I've been really curious about and I've been wanting to ask you is, like, as a therapist, what are you hearing from people? Like, what do they look at Benjamin blowing up his soda over there? What are you like? I know you
Not
can't.
supposed to say nothing.
I mean,
You're
it was.
supposed
I
to
had
just let
I
me
gotta call it
handle
out. It was all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah, I should have muted you because it was. But I know you can't give. Obviously, you want to be careful not to give away any information on your clients. But, like, are they coming to you being like, "Oh my God, if I can't have abortion, like the world is going to end"?
No. but bless you. I'm echoing. I don't know if that's
Yep.
an issue
You good
at
now?
all. Okay, yes,
Good.
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you. No, they're not saying that. I mean, but people are coming saying they're one issue voters. And I think more than ever, I've been hearing that versus in other elections. I've always been a one issue voter. However, most people have not in my world, right? They're just kind of lean in one direction or the other. And this time, I hate to be, I'm saying this tongue in cheek as being funny, but the funny part about it was seeing, this is not clinically, this is just locally, was the cognitive dissonance that so many people were having between abortion and being Jewish. And, and kind of sitting there, not, because I'm Jewish, I can't have an abortion. That wasn't the cognitive dissonance was, wait a minute. So I want Harris because I don't agree with the 6-week abortion issue. But I want, I don't think Harris is great for the Jews, right? So it was like, which issue then became the bigger issue? And again, like I said, at least where we were, in the state of Florida, it was kind of the smart people figured out that it really doesn't have to be either or, it can be both, because we were voting on abortion on our ballots. However, that's what I was hearing more than anything. And the contradiction where people were like, yeah, I'm pro-Israel, and yet they were voting for Kamala for 800 other things because they weren't Trump. She wasn't Trump. But really, when you held a mirror up to them and you said, okay, but like, you realize that the left is creating all of this and it's all about Western values, and you try to explain to them the whole thing, it's like la 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 la, and that's when they go back to abortion. And I think Jay had said it well many months ago to me. He said something like, abortion isn't an issue if the economy is good, right? It's when the economy isn't good or other things aren't good, then abortion, or is it the other way around? When
they got to find something.
The abortion is the issue. And I don't know. He said it very well. And if I remembered how he said it, it would have been even better. And of course, just jumped up. But the idea being is that people are using it when necessary.
Correct.
And it's not what people are really going into the voting booths for.
And that was my claim earlier, was I feel like this is, there's so many issues that get left on the table on purpose. So that they can, and
I think the left did that intentionally.
Yeah. So this one, not this guy, but the next, this next interview, This was a moment of do not judge a book by its cover. So I did not expect to get out of this man what I got. So this was another
Cowboy boots and a Batman
a
belt
huge Batman belt buckle. I should have told. Oh, you can see it barely. But this was
enlarge the screen. Take us out, enlarge the screen. I want to see
Can
this.
I don't think I can.
I'm not sure. Me that?
Oh,
There you go.
yeah. Can you do it? Okay. So this was another Republican leaning district in Round Rock. Rock, Texas, with Jesse. He's just voted. And so who did you vote for, Jesse? If you don't mind me asking.
I generally vote Democratic.
All right, excellent.
According to my statistics about myself personally, I should be Republican. But I just cannot stand Donald J. Trump.
Okay. All right. So that was kind of the deciding factor was
Mostly
personality.
mostly the way he treats women.
Okay. And now what about down ticket? How about the county,
Down
city?
ticket, counties and stuff like that, I vote for the individual. I don't vote for the party.
Got it.
So my ticket is a combination of Democratic and Republican.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the word Republican.
Got it.
I have a problem with Donald Trump.
Got it.
That's the extent of that.
And,
All right,
and
you guys,
that
we were
was,
here at the-
that was the refrain we heard over and over and over
That's
again.
what I said. That's what we're here. That's it. But tell me about the policy. Like I was taught, you vote on policy, you don't vote on people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so again, it's kind of like, okay, vote on policy, vote on the people that they surround themselves by. Those are the things, who are they bringing in to support them on the issues that they aren't great at and and need some strategic guidance on. That's how you judge people. And the other, again, my biggest argument when people would say to me, oh, but he's going to stay in office and he's never going to leave because of the quote unquote insurrection.
He's going to be a
I'm like, dude,
dictator.
listen, 7 years of
Like
graduate
how?
school here and 20
Yeah.
years of being in practice in psychology. And I can tell you that I don't know everything, but I do remember very clearly learning that the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. The guy left. Okay. He left the office. We have proof he left office because guess what? We had Sleepy Joe in there for 4 years. So he left. So it's like these lame arguments that people just kind of throw out there. And it's just to shut everybody up and they don't listen. And that's really the main thing is how many of us have been in a room where we've been talking to some strong-willed leftists and you say one thing and there is no room for them to allow you to speak. They listen, but they will barrage you with irrational
This is when you throw the third punch.
Right?
Got to interrupt. Got to interrupt the
Right.
the
But
circle.
because of what I do for a living.
You can't physically assault people, doctor?
I mean, if you
Nope.
I'm
kind
joking.
of doesn't look good.
I'm
It doesn't look good.
joking.
Not joking.
Zuckerberg.
Not joking.
I'm joking.
Yeah,
but
YouTube.
What I will say is that yes, that's all totally true. But when people talk about that, it's very interesting to me. You're saying that Democrats and progressives are weak because if you're looking at the voting, right, and half the popular vote is from one side and half just about is for the other side, right? You're telling me half the country, if Donald Trump just decided to just violate all the rules, half the military, well, more than half the military, most of the people with firearms and weapons that would be able to oust him from positions of power would just go along with it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
What
I
is that
think they need to
expression? That proves
look,
too
they
much?
They just need to do what supports their argument, right? And
Yeah.
they need to say things that's going to make them feel better when they go into the polling.
Yes.
That's
So
really
it's about
what it comes down to.
emotions. Got it.
Emotions.
Yeah,
So-
But people buy on emotion and
Yeah.
they justify on logic or pass backwards logic what they've already bought, right?
Yeah.
And that's the
Correct.
thing. It's an emotional argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's not a factual one. Then they try to back it up with facts, and they have to create some.
Yep. Yep.
Well said.
You mean
Exactly.
lie? Got
You
it.
lie, cheat.
Well, it's
Or
either
she's
that or they're
stupid.
in denial.
Well, look,
Lie,
and
cheat.
again, I don't want to sit here and say that I'm against all Democrats. Everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
Correct.
No, they're not.
But and did we lose one of the hosts?
No,
His
he's
camera's
still here.
out, but he's there. He's still in the background.
Okay.
I'm still
So I don't want to take anybody and rob anybody of their opinions and their vote. I
Yeah.
believe that that's what makes our democracy so great.
Oh,
I don't
see,
have to agree with it.
see.
right?
Now I do think we should rob people of their vote. I think we should get rid of all the amendments that allow everybody to vote.
No.
Because people
Yeah.
make terrible decisions, and
No.
I don't
They-
want them
okay,
to be in
look,
charge
they're-
of and have power over me.
Okay, but they're terrible decisions to you,
Yeah.
but they're not terrible decisions to half the country.
Right, but that's the whole point, is like this is the problem with democracy. It is mob rule. Like, so because they can get half of the electorate, that means they can put their hand in my pocket and take my stuff. It means they can spy on me. It can
Wait.
so
But here's how I determine if something's a terrible decision. What are your values? So if your value is freedom and your value is Donald Trump is a potential fascist and he's going to do things to give him ultimate power and turn the government totalitarian, then that would mean you're a stupid person if you're voting for things that would give the government more power.
yes, correct.
Wait, let me cook. Let me chef here.
Okay,
And
my
so I think objectively, I can call something a terrible decision if it is giving the people that you tell me I'm supposed to be afraid of more power. So if you disempower me, 2A, you disempower me by giving more power to the federal government versus the state government,
Yep.
and then you tell me you're terrified of Donald Trump, that's not objectively the right move to make. That's just me. I have a hard time squaring
we can
those
now
two.
we can now
Right.
use lethal force on American people.
Okay.
Well, no,
and my
that's
point, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Robert.
Lori. No, go ahead.
No, I didn't say the next part of my statement, but I
Oh.
agree with what you're saying. But like,
Okay.
I believe that everybody has their right to a vote, but
Yeah.
be able to back it up
Mm.
with the reason how you got from point A to
Oh,
point
yeah.
And that's the part that they can't necessarily do.
No.
Right. And so I'm cool if you're going to go.
Well,
with
but that's
and
But Lori, that's because they're arguing religion, right?
Mm.
They're arguing religion. When we cannot communicate with the mullahs of Iran, right? Because they are coming from a different worldview, and
Agreed.
their worldview is different. Wokeism, the progressive left, the people who have this Trump derangement syndrome, don't. It's like it's a new religion, right? It's the religion of hatred of Donald Trump. So they have this emotional reaction, and then they try to grasp for whatever facts they can to back it up, even when the facts have been, like Charlottesville, have been debunked. Right?
Good people
But
on
at
both
least
sides.
let them say something, right?
Correct.
That and it's not there. But again, who am I to say that they can't? This is the world we live in, or the country that we live in. If you want to vote for that person, okay,
Please do.
Yeah.
but just don't
Vote.
But don't complain then, right? Because I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many people voted for Obama. Right? Oh, hope, change. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then complains about him. And
Yeah.
I was like, you did it. It's all
Hey,
you.
Picked him.
I want to
You picked
point
him.
out, when I was an uninformed voter, he got me in the primaries.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, oh, this dude's cool.
Wait, who got you?
like this
Trump
guy.
got you.
No,
in the
no,
primary.
No, no,
No.
no, no,
Nah,
no.
he
Obama.
won me over
He
in the
won me over.
primary.
Yeah, he did in the beginning.
Nah.
What was it? Hey, what he said? Don't get all what?
Don't get all wee-weed up.
I got all weed up. Okay. I wasn't into politics. And then I was like, this dude seems cool. He's well spoken. Okay, he's black. That's cool. And then I voted for him in the primaries. And then I paid attention to what he was saying
Yep.
because I
And
was a
then
Christian.
What he did. Yep.
And I was like, nah, I can't do this. So I changed my mind when it was time to actually vote.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. we have a future Republican here, because we don't. I'm gonna skip around because there's a few interviews that I want to make sure we get to. But this young man he says he's working for a blue dog Democrat, which means once he gets a real job and sees the taxes that are taken out, he'll become a Republican.
Out.
So, but I thought it was really cool. It was a young man volunteering for a campaign. So
And
that
by
was
the way,
really cool.
You look good in green, Erica.
Thank you.
Look at those shades, bro.
Thank you.
Look at those
I'm telling you.
shades.
Hey.
On point.
Okay, here is the best. Oh, wait, hold on. This was
He's
the
cute. He's
best
cute.
view of the day.
Well, that matters.
Year's presidential election. Okay, so hold on.
I think we overall could have had better choices.
Tell us or tell our listeners what your general thoughts are on this year's presidential election.
I think we overall could have had better choices, but we make do with the ones we have.
Isn't that the truth, Ramin? Okay, so what was your most important issue? Because we're in Austin, right? So you've got county government, you've got city government, you've got the feds, you got all the stuff. Were there any races that you were most excited or most passionate about?
I got to be honest, I escalated all the way to the top and just went to the presidential
Okay,
vote,
all right.
clicked that box and moved on with my day.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
That was it. Top
that
of the
was it.
ticket and then moved on. Do you want to share with the viewers who you voted for and why?
Well, what was important to me was stopping foreign wars, creating more M&A activity in the economy,
Yep.
protecting the crypto bag holders.
Notice the green jacket I'm wearing?
Hey.
The crypto bag holders.
Honestly, public health.
Yeah.
I feel like America's
What's
like
that?
fat.
I feel like this might be an RFK voter.
If RFK was on,
Maybe
the
he
ballot,
was. Maybe you were an RFK voter.
I would have definitely voted for RFK,
Yeah.
but he wasn't on. It was only Jill Stein as an independent.
Oh, okay. So is that who you decided to vote for?
No, I went with Trump.
All right, my
Because
man.
if RFK is going to be in his administration,
I see. I can say
then
yes.
that could be powerful.
Yeah, that's what we're really excited about with that side of the aisle this year. Is it really feels like a coalition.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't. It's you've got Democrats or former Democrats,
Yeah.
independents, all progressives, even all coming together with common values.
I think that's the opportunity, is to be a little bit counter to the traditional system. And if they're able to pull it off and Trump opens the floor for some of those people to have autonomy and do their thing, I think it's going to be a win.
All right, Ramin, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, there are more than one Republican in the state of or in the city of Austin.
Has everyone else been Democrat?
Yeah, pretty much. Even in the red districts we've been to today, everyone that talked to us was voting for Kamala Harris.
Really?
Yep.
I wonder if Kamala fans are just more attention seeking, and so they went for the opportunity of the mic.
Okay, I didn't say it.
Ramin, it's Iranian, Persian.
Ah.
Yeah. minus the used car hair slick. Wait, so you're telling me? Hold on.
Wait.
Stay
okay,
right there.
Okay.
Wait, this
okay.
logic doesn't add up.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So.
I'm just kidding. I like PBD. I just can't listen to it for more than 5 minutes at a time.
No, we watch them too. It's cool. Hey, if you can't make fun of, you can't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, true.
So we actually have a bunch of friends. There's actually, now you said it, Iran.
Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it wrong.
You can butcher it. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
Iran.
Yeah.
We have actually a bunch of friends here in the Austin area that are from Iran, and
cool.
and they're like you. They're like not about this stuff.
Yeah.
Is it because of your cultural heritage and where you come from? Like, does that speak to why you
I
vote
think
the
a
way
little
that
bit.
you
I
do?
mean, look, my parents left the country right before I was born and moved to California, and I feel like I saw a really good American mobilization and wealth and class mobilization story there, and saw what they've been able to accomplish. And I just want to make sure that those opportunities remain true in America. And it feels like the Democrats are kind of the party of censorship and control now, which is kind of crazy because that's definitely not the America I grew up in.
Yeah.
Look, I think at heart I'm like a slightly center-left libertarian more than anything else, but in this election I had to go with Trump because I think it just protects the republic.
Amen. All right, guys. See you later.
He was great.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't played. We'll close out with with the quote of the night, but that was our favorite interview by far, because it just really speaks to, when you're talking to immigrants, people who are, he's a first generation American. And so many, you've got Lily Tang Williams, who was an immigrant from China, who survived Mao's revolution. You have all these people who came here for the American dream, who appreciate it so much more than Americans do. How? Why? Where are we failing?
Well, hopefully after tonight, we will have started the official restoration of the American Republic. And we would need Dr. Bruce with his hat and all on, because that's his concept.
Okay, you guys, this is we're gonna take us out tonight with with a couple more little bits. Robert, do you want to say anything before we close the show tonight?
Folks, it's too late to vote. If you haven't voted, don't watch the show anymore. It's all I got to say.
No, stay on with us.
And you can stay. Oh, no, you can stay on with us. Just I won't be here.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Okay. So here is the last, and our quote of the day. It ends with our quote of the day, you guys. I'm very surprised at how few people are willing to talk to us. Considering how much everybody likes to get online and cuss each other out and talk smack to one another and share memes and all this other stuff, and nobody wants to talk. All right, anybody want to share their thoughts on the election? Anybody? We're recording. If anybody wants to tell the news what you think, doesn't matter what your opinion is.
Oh, that's pathetic.
All right, see, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody wants to talk.
That's because you were dressed nicely. You should have worn your tinfoil hat.
Well, I think it was awesome that you guys went out and did it. I mean, that takes a lot of courage to do that, and the fact that there were 4 or 5 people that actually did speak to you is awesome. Yeah, but it does prove the point that these polls are completely biased and they're completely not statistically significant at all.
Yes.
Because your sample size is skewed from the beginning.
Yep. And okay, so this was Grayson on the UT campus, and